All right, game changers, let's talk about why your job search isn't going anywhere. Hi, I'm Sam, and welcome to this week's episode of Locker Talk, where we talk about career strategies and things that are going on in the world to help you land that job, get that promotion. So, if you've been feeling like you're putting in the work but not getting interviews, right? You're out there applying and hearing nothing back. I've got news for you. It's really not about working hard. It's about working smarter right now. Most job seekers are running plays from 2015 or 2005 in the 2025 job market. The old way looked like scroll the job boards, maybe have some alerts set up, apply to everything. Then, you would hear nothing, tweak your resume, repeat, but eventually something would land. And in today's market, that just doesn't work anymore. But does that journey sound familiar, right? I'm looking, I'm applying, I'm hearing nothing. That's not really a job search. That's a hamster wheel, and that's not going to get you anywhere in the market today. The big problem is a couple of things. But it really all comes down to one big problem. So, yes, AI has changed the job market. Yes, since COVID, things have looked a lot different in people's job satisfaction, and especially with a lot of changes from working from home to return to work practices, all that sort of good stuff is changing the job market, but maybe not in the way you think, right? A lot of times when we think about the job search and AI, we're thinking applicant tracking systems, the ATS systems are out there auto rejecting all of your resumes and no human is ever looking at any of your applications. And honestly, that's just not true. If you talk to recruiters, that's not really what's going on in the market. What is going on is that AI is making it much easier to apply and to apply in mass. So what we're seeing now is that for most of the jobs that are getting posted, hundreds of applicants are coming through. A lot of them aren't real. So recruiters are trying to sift through who's a person, who's not a person. A lot of them are completely unqualified because, again, it's just about people are doing the spray and pray approach, as we like to call it, right? Where you just throw everything out there and pray that it's going to work and something's going to land. And so the problem is that the recruiters, the human beings who are having to look through all of this, are just inundated with so much to process that they really can't do it all. And so unless you're one of those first 50 applicants, they're probably not giving a lot of weight to your resume because they found somebody good enough in that first pile of people, and they are just going to go and move forward with that. And especially if it's been some time between when the job was posted and when you applied, they probably have already started to move through the process and started to really filter out like who's good and who's not good. The other big thing, right, is that there is huge job dissatisfaction in the market right now, just in the world. And so that's the other thing that's increasing the number of people applying to jobs. So it's not just AI is making it easy for us to create cover letters, create resumes, and do all that stuff to just check the box to make the application happen. There's also just a lot more people looking for roles, and especially depending on what sector that you're in, right? So obviously in the US, the government has had big changes, and so there's a lot of those individuals flooding the market, and there's just been a lot of layoffs in the tech industry and things like that. So what you're seeing is you're also seeing a lot more candidates in certain pools. So depending on what industry, depending on what job you're looking for, you actually could be against a pretty heavy influx of candidates that are out there. So between those two things, you're talking just overwhelm on the recruiter's part. And so they're going to do anything they can to make it manageable for themselves. And so when you start to look for a job and you are, throwing out those resumes and, just kind of following this old process, you're not getting anywhere. Again, you're on that hamster wheel. And what I see the mistake a lot of people start with is that they start with job boards, right? So I was walking somebody through my career reboot system that I've got for making career changes, kind of rebooting your career overall. And I was walking them through the 9 plays that I've got in that. And the person laughed and they said, I want to start on play number 4. That's where I actually would like to start, which is job search, right? It's job boards. So that's where it's let's go find the jobs that you're really looking for. And they said, this is where I would have started. And I laughed and I said, yeah, that's actually what I see where most people start. And when we see that, what's being skipped is really, really the important first half, first third of this journey that is really all about who you are, where you're going, and how you're positioning yourself to get there. So it's really about like what we typically call like branding, but it's more than that now. It's being really targeted and really specific on what value do I bring to the table? How can I demonstrate that? And what very specific jobs am I looking for? And the funny thing is, it's pretty common for us to say, well, I'm open to a lot of different things. I'm open to, this job or that job. I could be a, customer success manager. I could be a project manager. I could be an operations, leader or whatever, so because our skill sets and because in mid-career we've done so much that we really could go in a lot of directions. The problem is that when you create a resume, when you create a LinkedIn profile around anything, you really look like you're qualified for nothing specific. And think about it from the hiring manager, the recruiter's point of view. They are looking to fill a specific job, fix specific problems that are going on in their team, in their company, in their organization right now. And so you've got to position yourself as that. And so I had a client a few weeks ago and they said, well, or a few months ago, and they said, I could do one of these three things. These are kind of the big buckets that I'm thinking of. And I said, okay, sounds good. Then we'll put together three different resumes for you. And they said, what? And I said, if you're targeting three different roles, you should have three different base resumes. And they should be targeted to a project manager, to a customer success manager, to, insert whatever role here. And they really should be focused on the future, right? What are you looking towards? What are you doing towards? And then the same thing with the job searches, with the way that you network, with the way that you take any action and put together a strategy. It's targeted to the future, not to the history of your career, who you've been, all that sort of good stuff. And so when we think about that, the game is just really, really different now, right? When you think about that hyper competitive landscape from like an applicant standpoint, you've got to think about a different approach, right? How do you get in front of somebody? How do you become visible in a world where in the system, you're naturally going to be invisible? And so you think about all the different things that really put you in that space, right? So, for me in my career reboot system that I have put together, it's really about setting the right target, making sure that the resume LinkedIn is updated for you, building a brand that really speaks to who you are, getting visible to the right players, right? How do you get visible to recruiters who are using LinkedIn Recruiters tool? How do you get visible to recruiters who work at specific companies, or hiring managers, or somebody who can be a referral for you? Employee referrals up your chances of getting in there and landing an interview. And thinking about how to really land interviews without applications, or the applications are like a secondary, right? It's a check the box activity. So you really have to think and approach the market much differently than you used to in the past. So if you're listening to this before Friday the 14th, I am doing basically a free life coaching session called the New Job Search Playbook. So it's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to go over why the old plays fail, take a little bit of look at some of the market research, talk about my four-part framework and how to get results right now, and then how to pinpoint the exact stuck point that you're really at and fix it. So it's not just a webinar on information and, hey, here's a bunch of stuff that I'll talk at you. It really is a live coaching session. So bring a notepad and really have a moment for yourself to think about, what do I want next, and what does that really look like for me. So it's tomorrow, 11, or if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, it's tomorrow, but it's Friday, April. Woo! It's Friday, August 15th. 2025. So definitely come listen, come join in, come participate in the session, because we're going to stop guessing and start getting you plays that actually win. I also dropped a blog post yesterday that's got my career reboot system in it. So all 9 plays, what are the things that I walk people through? So if you're interested in, how's a career coach out there getting people over the finish line to landing new roles, I do break that down in this week's blog post, which is in the show notes. So check that out for sure as well. And if you need anything, if you want me to give you a quick glance at your resume, just shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to, give you a couple minutes worth of feedback and to point you in the right direction. Because this is a crazy job market. This is a wild point in time in that regard, and so strategy beats random action and just mass applying and mass action anytime. So good luck out there. And if you need anything, you know where to find me. So put down the popcorn and get in the game.